So what's good, Straw Gang, and welcome back to another video. Tonight I'm going to be covering the top 5 best SMGs and their class setups here in Warzone Season 4, because the meta currently right now is very healthy for the game. Of course, other things like cheaters don't really help, but the meta and where the position of the weapons are is very good. You know, remember at one point everyone was running AUGs and DMRs and, you know, FAFAs and MAC-10s, and now we're here in Season 4 and there is a ton of different weapons to use. There's a huge variety within the game right now, and I've got multiple top videos coming out, so if you don't want to miss that, you want to stay tuned for all the other content I have as well, drop a like on the video and hit that red sub button down below with post notifications on so you actually know when I drop those videos. And with that being said, let's hop right into the list. So coming in at the number 5 spot, I'm going to be dropping one of my favorite guns in the game right now, and that is going to be the nail gun. Now, even though it's my favorite, it still sits at the number 5 spot on this list, and let me explain why. So if you haven't been keeping up with Warzone and you just don't know about this, the nail gun actually only has 20 rounds in a clip, and you cannot get attachments for this gun, so you can't get like a 30 round clip or even like a 25 or whatever. Completely limited to 20 rounds. So with that being said, you can see that when you go into modes like trios and quads and get in those really crazy engagements where 20 bullets is not the most reliable thing, or 20 nails, I don't know what to say, because it really is nails. It's a literal nail gun. So 20 nails in a clip is not going to be the most reliable thing, especially when most people would be using an MP5, a BULLFROG, an LC10, a MAC-10, maybe even a FAFA. So having those 20 nails just isn't the most reliable thing. The nail gun absolutely shreds, and I think if you did want to use this in trios and quads, it is more so of just a quick pull-out weapon when you need to, you know, finish someone off. They're weak, you shoot them from afar, you push them, whatever it may be. It can definitely be used in close range engagements as well. It's just like, don't solely rely on that gun, and that's really what sits it at the top 5 spot. But if you play solos or duos like me, it is an absolute top weapon, and that is going to be my number 5 spot for this list. So coming in at the number 4 spot, I'm going to be dropping the Cold War MP5. Now, this is one of my personal favorite SMGs within the game, but when I make these lists, I think about the player base as a whole and what suits everyone. You know, what's the easiest to use for everyone, not advanced players, skilled players, experienced players. I have to balance things out across the player base overall, right? So I do find through the comments on my videos when I do make a Cold War MP5 video, the one thing people have the most trouble with is the recoil and controlling the gun itself. Well, not the recoil, but the recoil pattern. You know, it's a bit weird to control, especially when you have a 0 recoil BULLFROG or a MAC-10 or an LC10. Those guns are much easier to use and much more reliable for the player base as a whole. Once you really just knuckle down on the Cold War MP5 and control that recoil pattern and get comfortable with the gun, you will find yourself absolutely deleting people. Like, it is an absolute machine. Now, as for the class setup, I'm going to be rocking the standard sound suppressor as well as the 40 round drum, airborne elastic wrap, Tiger Team spotlight, and the Raider stock. This is a class setup for solos, so change the ammunition, you know, based on what mode you're playing. And if you cannot control the recoil too well on this gun, you're just getting used to it, I'd take off airborne elastic and put on any of the grips, whether that's field agent or the SFOD speed grip. Those two are really good to use as well. And that is the number 4 spot for this list. So coming in at the number 3 spot on this list, I'm going to be placing the BULLFROG. Now, this gun for quite a while when the Cold War weapons got integrated was quite an overlooked weapon. It wasn't that great. It was a bit of a pea shooter. There were so many weapons outshadowing it, but finally here in Season 4 and even a little bit before Season 4, this gun has been getting a lot more attention, not only with Mutex holding a couple world records with this weapon, but just the gun itself. I've been seeing more people use it, and it's just overall a more popular gun right now. You don't need a grip on it, you don't need any type of recoil control attachment on this weapon because it has absolutely 0 recoil. Now, I would say I'm surprised that they haven't nerfed the recoil on this and made it a little bit more, but the gun itself isn't that strong. It's not like a MAC-10, you know, in its prime, how that thing was just overly dominant. This gun is well balanced. It has low recoil, but you definitely need to be making sure you hit your shots, be accurate. And speaking of hitting your shots, this gun also has up to 85 rounds in the ammunition, which is absolutely insane, especially if you're playing solo quads or you just push into a building with a bunch of people in it. You can imagine that you almost don't have to reload with that, and plus if you end up having to, it is I think it's one of the fastest reloading mags out of the ammunition option for the BULLFROG. So first of all, we've got the standard sound suppressor, then I'm going to be rocking the bruiser grip as well as the 65 round speed mag, Tiger Team spotlight, and the KGB skeletal stock. And that is going to be the BULLFROG class setup at my number 3 spot on this list. So coming in at the number 2 spot on this list, I'm going to be placing the MAC-10. Now, in previous top SMG videos I've done, the MAC-10 hasn't been ranked so highly, and that is for one reason, because the sound suppressor had not been buffed at that time. If you guys don't know by now, the sound suppressor did get a little bit of a buff, which makes secondaries a lot more viable at close range. The biggest thing that it added is the aim down sight speed and the sprint to fire speed, which helps obviously, you know, SMGs as they they are a close range weapon and you're going to want that ADS and sprint to fire, and it just overall made the MAC-10 feels like such a better weapon after that. Like honestly, it just changed the way it feels for me. So going on to the class setup, as you'd expect for my first attachment, I'm going to be rocking the standard sound suppressor, as well as the Tiger Team Spotlight, the 43 round speed mag for solos or maybe duos, as well as the airborne elastic wrap and the Raider stock. I assume most of you probably won't be using an underbarrel for this gun because look man, it does not have a lot of recoil. Of course, if you're a casual player, someone who doesn't play as much, maybe you'll want to, but for me personally, I don't find this gun to have enough recoil to the point where I need an underbarrel, and if you do want an underbarrel, take away airborne and put on SFOD or field agent. But that is pretty much my MAC-10 class setup at the number 2 spot. So coming in at the number 1 spot on this list, this is the weapon that I think is the most reliable, the best SMG, the easiest and most diverse weapon to use for all types of players in Season 4, and that is going to be the LC10. This gun for a long time has been my favorite SMG out of the category until, you know, the nail gun came along. I just absolutely love the way this feels. I've used it in all different types of modes, solo quads on Rebirth, solos and duos. It is overall just such a consistent, good feeling SMG. Now, as I mentioned, it is a very diverse weapon. No matter what type of player you are, what skill level you have, this thing has just as little recoil as the BULLFROG, if not less. Like, the gun doesn't move. You don't have to control the recoil much. You don't have to pull your analog stick down very much, but yet again, I will go through the class setup and change a few things around just in case you're not comfortable with that, but just give it a go, man. Try this class setup out without an underbarrel. You never know, it may feel good right off the bat. Now, like a lot of my other class setups for the SMGs, I'm going to be rocking the standard sound suppressor, as well as the Tiger Team Spotlight, Raider stock, airborne elastic wrap, and the 42 round speed mag. Now, that is a solo class setup. The only thing, yet again, you'll want to change for other modes is your ammunition based on what you're playing. If for some reason you can't control this gun without an underbarrel, yet again, get rid of airborne and put on either SFOD or field agent. Those are the two best to use, and that is going to be the LC10 coming in at my number 1 spot for the top 5 SMGs list in Warzone Season 4. So that's going to wrap up this top 5 SMGs video for Season 4 in Warzone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hey man, if you did, don't forget to leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. Consider subscribing with notifications on so you not only don't miss other future content coming to the channel, but also more top 5 videos, because like I said, the meta is very diverse, very good right now, in a healthy spot, and I'm going to be doing more of these covering different categories of weapons and covering more guns in general. So I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day everybody, and I'm out. Also, if you made it to this point in the video, comment down below which your favorite gun is out of this list. See ya!